And a very strange one because rather than being a WOKLZ um, intro, it's a Folder on Football intro because this is not the WOKLZ podcast, but we still have Reece WOKLZ YT YouTube analyst,
Yeah,
whatever else you
just
got
say
in there.
get all the other channels in, my other 6 channels. Start naming them all.
Wrestling, F1, MMA, everything else. Mate, it is a lovely evening. 2-0 win, Champions League opener, away in Spain. Oh, and you actually watched the game, mate. So that's nice. Novel.
I did, yeah. I did, yeah. It was a stressful game, but I mean, probably to be expected. The sort of games you get at the start of the Champions League against decent opponents. So weren't that surprising.
Let's go for the lineup, mate. What do you think of the lineup? Because I mean, we talked about it on the Fockles podcast. We were saying, a lot of rotation and probably get ready for the City game. Were you surprised about the lineup, or were you like, wow, it is Arteta, he's going to revert back to type? But yeah, how did you feel about the lineup, mate?
I think this is one of them games that even maybe I was a bit of I kind of thought as well, but a lot of other people did. Where like I think people thought about Bilbao were easier than they are, so I think people were like, oh yeah, let's get all these rotation options in and change it up. But it's like, well, even with our main team, I'd say there was a pretty hard fought game for 60, 70 minutes, and
Yeah,
then
mate.
we got the difference in the end. I do think like Bilbao created like practically nothing other than one chance where our right back was off the pitch injured and they overlapped to the right side. But like, I did feel like it's one of them games where I probably would have wanted a little bit more changes. I think it was interesting Marino playing because Marino played from a press standpoint, and that was quite clear that when we were pressing, he was the main first guy. Gyökeres actually moved to the left to
Yep.
give him that space, but we actually had a lot of the ball. I think this might have been the most we had the ball this season. So I didn't really feel like that was very effective. I felt like Marino in the entire first half was like not useful, other than a couple of neat passes between the lines sometimes. In the second half, I felt like Marino was actually really good. So obviously it didn't matter in the end, but I do think that was a bit surprising, maybe to me. I didn't expect Waneri to play because it's a tough game away in Spain. And there is a certain aspect people have spoke about, like the Basque aspect of like playing Basque Spanish players who are going to be used to it. I think this is one of the big reasons why we didn't rush Saliba back and put Mosquera in, probably because we're like, well, Mosquera's used to this because he played them last season and the season before. So I do want a little bit more rotation, I'd say, out of anywhere, definitely in the fullback places. I think there was an argument to play Saliba, so Mosquera plays him right back and then Timber gets a rest. I think Timber was my man of the match probably with Mosquera.
Ooh, okay.
I think it was purely just because they had to do more. I think Gabriel was great in the things he did. I think Zubamendi was class a lot of the time, but I think that a lot of the pressure really came down from this side. I thought Timber was really good, and so was Mosquera. And I feel like Calafiori wasn't really effective in this game. I've seen some people on Twitter talk about how it is quite weird how we are basically using Eze as a wider player to facilitate Calafiori. And it's like, great, Calafiori's a great player going forward, but don't we want to get the best out of Eze? Because every time he came into them central areas, I feel like you saw something. There was at least a bit of level. He's dribbling or something. So I don't think I would have played Calafiori, but I think everywhere else I can kind of understand it a bit more.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think, well, we talk a lot, and when we're doing it, we talk about tactics and we talk about just kind of look at it in a binary way, I guess, because you're kind of taking out all the soul of the game, if that makes sense. I think sometimes we overlook it. You talk about the Basque region, and I mean, fair play to them, because to build a team out of players that have just come from the Basque region and been developed there. Could you imagine if we were only allowed to have players from North London? It would be insane. It'd be like so difficult. So fair play to him, but it is such a difficult place to go, and I think we almost overlook it because. Oh, hang on. I have just got to say, John, thanks, mate. I do appreciate it. Hey, we got another viewer. Don't worry, John. You're not on your own at the moment. There will be more. There will be more. Yeah, like to go there is probably way more difficult than people first give it credit for in this match. And I can kind of understand why we've gone strong. Plus, you don't want to have a bad start in the Champions League. My only reservation with so I've done an instant reaction. It will be going up in a minute. It's literally just uploading right now. I talked about this midfield with Marino. I don't think Marino did anything in the first half that was, bad. He didn't do anything wrong per se, and he had like a quite a bespoke job in terms of pressing. But I just feel like not playing, Ethan there. What message does that really send to him, and how do we work creatively? I do wonder about that. The other thing is you could even move Eze centrally as well. Like, can you play just a straight double pivot and then play Eze centrally? Can you move Eze to the kind of the left 10 and then Declan Rice to the right 8? And there's ways around it if you don't want to put a young player in. Just felt like Marino that hat trick has almost given Arteta like a get out clause of saying, well, he can score. We see it there, but they're completely different systems. So I do wonder, like, if it stifles us slightly, and I wonder what we'll do against City, because are we going to play that same team again? Like, surely you've got to rotate at some point, and I don't think, like, is Odegaard back for the next game? Do we know yet?
I don't know. Not really heard much.
No, which kind of leads me to think he's not. But I don't know. I do worry about that side. But nevertheless, it is what it is. Evening as well to Just Tom. Back again, mate. Thanks, mate, for tuning in. So, I mean, let's go into it then. First half goes. I mean, it's pretty high octane straight away, isn't it? You get the Declan Rice yellow card was early doors as well. Did you expect us to kind of start in the way we did, or is that it's Arsenal? It is what it is.
It's also about like the occasion and the team we're playing against. Like I think Bilbao came out and they actually had quite a good mid block. I think they were doing really well to close the lines. I did feel like a lot of the first half, our players were really far away. Like I felt like we talk about counter attacking and being on that last man. I feel like the problem was we had Eze, Madueke, and Gyökeres all on the last man, and then the rest of the team is literally before the first line. So I just felt like in order to get the ball over, it's going to take a lofted like cross-field ball, which sometimes is going to take way too long, and they could just run back and claim it. And I kind of felt like we played into their hands a little bit. Like I so funny because I see some people say like I saw some guy on like the BBC News thing be like, why don't Arsenal play quicker? Why? And it's like that's just not how it is. Like if we play quicker, how are we going to play quicker? Like we've got no space other than going long, which we have to do anyway. Like that is the thing. And at the start of the game where they're pressing and they're doing a good mid block, the whole system is like you just got to wait it out until they get tired. And they did get tired. Like by the end of the first half, the last 10, 15 minutes, they were knackered. And then like 20 minutes into the second half, you could see that Bilbao were really struggling to press. Like Iñaki Williams really wasn't coming up to our defenders. We had so much time to kind of pick balls out and do it. But we just needed more runners. I felt like Zubimendi in that first half, like he made some mistakes in the second. I think sometimes on the ball, we talk about how he risks things, and that's always going to be a threat sometimes. He is much more of a risky player than Rice, who's a much more safe player. But Zubimendi in that first half was like everything good going forward. Like he really helped us in breaking the lines, moving the ball forward. He's so intelligent at picking up spaces and finding gaps between players. I do think that like in the first half, we really struggled with like we gave the ball to Madueke, and we know Madueke's great at one-on-ones, and he still tested a little bit, even if it wasn't like the most clear performance as much as the weekend. Yeah. But like when I look at Madueke, like he didn't really have any options near him. And I get we talk about putting him on an island, but I felt like a lot of the time Timber wasn't overlapping for him to be conservative. I felt like, obviously, like we said, Marino just wasn't on the right-hand side. He'd like gone away, gone to the other side of the pitch, sometimes back post.
His heat map is really interesting to look at for Marino. There's no like, usually you have like a patch, like a red patch, a clear indicator of where they've been. His is towards the right, but it's just really scattered. Like it's really interesting to look at. I'm gonna have to definitely watch this game back.
Like a Roman player, and like I
Mm.
don't mind that, but I do think sometimes when I think about our right hand dynamics, we always have like an Odegaard or Waneri like underlapping or like Timber like overlapping or underlapping. I thought Madueke didn't get that, and sometimes it's fine. He takes his man on, he goes in the box, but there's a few times as well I was just sat there and I was like, he's got no options. Like we talk about. I mean, I made a video about Madueke's performance, like everyone did against on the weekend against Forest. And in that game, even though he kept taking his man on, he had options around him. You saw how long he took to wait for them overlaps to keep coming in. Timber did one,
Mhm.
Gyökeres did another. He didn't really have any of that in this game, I felt like. And I felt like we just were scared. I get it. It makes sense given the occasion, a bit different to Forest, but we didn't really give him that. And I feel like Zubamendi is not going to make them runs. He stood there and was like, well, I'm not going to do it because he has to cover and he's more intelligent. So that
Yeah.
kind of worried me a little bit. I want to say, like, Eze didn't have a great game. And I feel like there's a few moments where he picks the ball up, goes past a couple of players, starts to create, and I really liked it. But off the ball, Eze's a weird player. Like, he just is. Like, there's some times where, like, the ball is, like, 4 feet away from him, and he just kind of jogs up to it. And I'm like, you've even got that amount of time. And it's sometimes fine because he like, holds up with his body really well and wins it clearly. But there was a few times, I think, where I wanted to really put the pressure on where maybe we put a cross in and got headed down. It came to Eze, and he kind of just takes too long sometimes. I don't know
Mm.
why he's like that. And then
I
it's really
mean,
weird because in other
he's
moments, he
like
like,
GA's not fantastic, if you know what I mean. Like
yeah,
he's a really interesting player because he's comes with this huge reputation of like being a fantastic attacker. And in terms of technique and ball control, he's unbelievable. Like standing up his man, being able to like create space for himself, but he kind of does it. I know what you mean. He doesn't have that instant reaction to do something. He kind of waits for the opposition and then reacts. Kind of like, you know, if you get like a counter fighter, that type of thing. He's almost like that. He waits for someone, you know, like a feint and then he's gone. It is, yeah, I do know what you mean. It is an interesting way of,
it's just
yeah, playing.
slower.
Sorry.
Like he's just slower in the ball. It's just weird. Like I think he's fine sometimes because I mean he's just a weird player to like understand off the ball because I remember once on the it was like towards the end of the first half on the left hand side he kind of just walks up to the ball and I'm like oh he's gonna lose it and then out of nowhere he just does that really good slide tackle. The other player tries to like kick him and then he gets a throw in and they start beefing. I'm like that kind of came out of nowhere. Like I didn't even know he was gonna do that. Like he's such a weird player to judge. I think he will learn it. I think he will get better. I do want to see Eze more like I don't want him to necessarily play centrally because I just think he is a better player coming in off the left. But I feel like he should be able to come in off the left a lot more. Like Calafiori
Yep.
should just hold the width. Maybe a Hincapié coming in a bit more will be that adaptation to that. But like I don't really understand the point in these sort of games to be like, oh, we're gonna platform Calafiori and Eze, you're gonna help him. It's like Eze should be the one platform. Calafiori should be helping him.
Yeah,
So
that early kind of section when you've got Arteta on the sideline and he's shouting at him, and it's annoying because everything gets blown out of proportion on social media anyway. But loads of people going, "Oh, why is Arteta already stifling Eze, and you know he's already ruining Eze?" And I was just like, "Hang on, let's just kind of take this and actually look at it." When I looked at that, Calafiori had gone in the half space, and Eze has got to hold the width. You can't just everyone go in that same zone, but we have got to learn, and they've got to learn together. Who when does Eze receive in those spaces? When does Calafiori move into those spaces? And over time, I'm sure that won't be a problem. But it is really interesting when you look at the right hand side. Madueke almost had what Martinelli's had for so long and being isolated. And then you had the hub on the left hand side, but then it was just really disjointed today. So I don't know. I think it's going to take a while. It does beg the question. I do wonder if Hincapié will actually end up as our main left back over time. Because I said, do you remember we talked about who would get the most minutes at left back this season? I said Calafiori. Who did you say at the time?
I think I said Calafiori or maybe
Yeah.
Hincapié. I said Hincapié because of Calafiori's injuries. I
Ah.
also think
Yeah.
Calafiori is going to play backup centre back more than Hincapié. I'm not actually sure how I feel about this because in
Mm.
height, like in thinking about it, Hincapié might make more sense. But I watching both of the players and knowing what Arteta likes from players, I think he would prefer Calafiori in centre back than a Hincapié, but maybe like he still does that. But I wonder if like I'd like to see like a game where if Gabriel or Miles is not there to play, like who he would play on which one, because I still don't really know. I feel like I still think like in my heart that he would play Calafiori as a centre back over Hincapié, but I'm not sure. It's going to be interesting. Like so annoying. Like I'm waiting to make
I
my what
think
we
he
learned from.
would, simply because Pep's got the same thing. They usually try to play a player out, out wide before they play him centrally. So like we've seen it with
That's
like
true.
Gavardiol playing out as a left back, like Calafiori, like really he's a centre back. He's gone into left back. I just think Calafiori would probably come in centrally and then Hincapié would play out wide. I also worry about Hincapié's aggression. Can he have controlled aggression in the Premier League in central areas? Like at least if he goes flying into a tackle, which he has got in his locker, if it's out on the touchline, it's not as bad as if it's in the penalty area. But that's
I
yeah.
will say like I will say defensively, Calafiori has improved heavily. Like I thought defensively he was
Massively.
so good. Like I don't worry that much anymore. He was calm. He made some really good tackles. In the air, he has improved like tenfold from last
Yeah.
season. He just wins so many duels in the air. Like I think he won the most duels in this game actually out of any player, which doesn't surprise me. Like he was
Against Liverpool, he was
fantastic. I thought.
fantastic. The ball out balls towards Salah. Brilliant.
I feel like in this game, like this is the thing, like Calafiori has arguably been our best player this season.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I don't think like they want to take him out because of that. And I think if that's the logic, then fair enough. Like I think he deserves to earn his spot in that team right now. I am as much as anxious as everyone else about the injuries because it is him and we know what it's like. It's the same with Timber. Not like Timber got injured last year, but we know the amount of risk we put him into. That's why it's
Yeah.
that sort of worry there. Same with like we literally spoke on Friday about how Rice might be rotated more because he plays so much, like compared to other players. And then he didn't play on the weekend and it was fine. Like we didn't need him. And
No,
Zubimendi as a lone
it's good.
six is amazing. So it didn't matter. But like I feel like rotation needs to happen. I wonder if it happened a bit more maybe after City. I mean, we've got Port Vale, then we've got Newcastle away, which is always a tough game for us. So that'd be interesting. I think some of the players in today's game, it made sense. I do think, like, as much as I've been very critical of someone like Martinelli, this is such a game for him. Like, I think Madueke as well, it was a game for them sort of wingers rather than like an Eze type of player anyway, if you're going to play him out wide. That's easy to say in hindsight. I still would have played Eze from the start because it's just
Yeah.
quality. But Martinelli coming on as well, Trossard coming on. I wasn't happy when Trossard came on because I wanted Eze to move into the centre, Trossard out wide and Marino up front. But we didn't do that. We just kind of shoved Trossard up front for Gyökeres, which I thought was weird. But then it ended up working. So, like, that's his job, isn't it? Like,
Yeah, should we? Well, let's go. I mean, John's put in the chat. So he said, thoughts on Gyökeres. Kind of thinking, should we do a Dembele and play Saka through the middle? Ooh. I mean, what as a 9 or as a 10? I presume it means as a 10, surely. I mean, they're saying Dembele, so let us know, John. Let us know in a minute. I mean, I think Gyökeres was good. The funny thing is, I think Patrick Van Straten, I don't know, do you know Patrick Van Straten?
this guy, man. I've heard of him,
Always
yeah.
chatting with him, actually. I think Pat put up something like Gyökeres has done more Gyökeres things in the first 10 minutes of this match than he has in the whole of his Premiership, showing for Arsenal. And it's so true. Like we said, as soon as we had signed him, Champions League is going to be his thing. Like he will perform far better in the Champions League, especially when there's space, rather than, in the Premier League where we're going to face far more kind of mid blocks and, teams that aren't going to play a high line like today. I think Gyökeres was so good in that opening section. Like before he got that head injury, especially, he was winning free kicks. He was getting him beyond. He's a nasty player. I love it. You can just tell there's like a ruthless edge. And at the beginning of that match, I just thought it looks like it's going to be inevitable that he gets a goal in this game. And he seemed to die down, later on. And I think in hindsight is I mean, it was a wise decision because Trossard was such a good sub, but it was interesting that they took him off and thought to themselves, actually, we need to rest him. He's our primary striker now. He's really our only striker available. We need him against City. So for me, I think Gyökeres was good. There's still room for growth. You know, similar to Eze, it's so difficult. You're playing alongside so many players who don't have that kind of cohesive link, and then you're going to Bilbao and playing in a, let's be honest, like a cauldron tonight. It was a hard game. Oh, John said a 9. Playing Saka as a 9. I mean, for
I
me,
don't
I,
think
I
I
don't.
don't think Saka's a good enough presser to do it. To be honest, I feel like
I I worry about just physically as well. Would he be able to play it? I don't know. Um, yeah. What do you think of Gyökeres, mate, tonight?
I actually think it's his best performance. Like he didn't score, but he actually was really good. Like I do think he was much better. Um, I just think like I mean it was such a Gyökeres game. The things he was doing, I was like, this just sums him up. Like the runs from the halfway line into the behind, and also he got put offside right at the start, 15 minutes in. It just wasn't offside, and he went
Yeah.
down the left. And I was like, his timing of a runs is actually very good. Like it's what best strikers in the world do. Everyone talks about Haaland. Haaland's best runs are just elite. Like he's always on side. Gyökeres is like that as well. I think honestly, like I don't blame him. Like in the second half, he didn't touch the ball. I don't think it came off, but that's not his fault. Like it's not his fault when he doesn't touch the ball. And when the game was open towards the end of the first half, he was better because he could actually get into it, run at
Yeah.
players, get into areas. You know that header, he almost scores from the dive into hard technique. Like he runs in late and he almost gets like he heads it wide. That's a good chance. You know he had some good efforts in this game, got
You
into some
know,
good
people are
areas.
going to be saying as well, "Oh, Gyökeres, we knew he couldn't head the ball," and it's like, oh, it's a one-off thing. Like, I'm just waiting for that discourse. Anyway, sorry to cut you off there, mate.
No, no. It's like I genuinely think your quiz is good. Like at the start, I think there was a few times you gave him the ball and like he like gave it away a little bit. I think it happened once or twice, maybe. But like because this referee, let's be honest, this referee is stupid and like football in Europe is just so different, and I hate how it's refereed so different. It's so like weak. It's like tippy tap. You touch
Oh, it
someone, it's a
really
foul.
is. Yeah.
And like honestly, the first 40 minutes of this game were genuinely like I wanted to gouge my eyes out because every time someone was going to lose the ball on both teams, they would just jump on the floor and get a free kick. And like
Yep.
I just think that's a stupid way of football. And then it's funny because he changed it completely towards the 60th minute, and the commentators are like, "Oh, let's give him credit for playing on." Like, he didn't do this the first 50 minutes of the game. I'm going to give him credit
Yeah.
because he did his job for 4 minutes. I was like, with Gyökeres though, I actually think that helps because he is not someone that is the most like stable guy having the best touch straight away, especially when he goes back to
Yep.
goal, trying to hold the ball up. So basically, if he touches the ball, messes it up a little bit, a guy goes a little bit into it, he just jumps on the floor, free kick. And I felt like he did that really well. And I felt like there was a level. I feel like if we were better going forward, Gyökeres would have scored in this game. I just feel like it's hard to judge a striker when the team overall for a whole half are struggling to get the ball into him and in good areas, which isn't on him. It's not his problem for progression and all that. It's about everyone else.
Yeah, it's the Haaland effect, isn't it? You know, you're not going to ask a player of that mold to come drop into midfield, start popping the ball around, joining up and build up more. Like that's not his game. And nor really do I want him even to try to do that, to be active on the ball. Like his best attributes, he needs to be on the last man. He needs to be in the box as much as possible, running the left channel every once in a while. Like that's what he's good at. Like, let's not try and change him. I mean, John echoes what you've just said. Like, yeah, in terms of like the midfield, I wouldn't say like a whole different midfield, but especially with no Odegaard there, it's so difficult for Gyökeres because we know what his best attributes are. Funny enough, his best service so far has come from Calafiori. So eventually we'll work out exactly how to use him, but it was really nice. And do you know what? On the offside thing, he is so good at playing like beyond the defender, and then right as the ball is about to be released, he comes back on side and then does his action. He's so clever. Like it's unbelievable. And you can see from that why he's got so many goals because it's that intelligent running. And unfortunately, in the past, we just haven't had players with that. You know, the amount of times I've seen players like Martinelli offside, and I'm thinking, why? You've got pace to burn. Like, why are you not holding your run a little bit? It's yeah, really clever. Um, let's
I
go.
think it's funny on
Yeah, go.
Yokra as the last note. I think the funny thing is about him is that I think the reason why he came off was because like maybe yeah fitness and his head injury and stuff. But I think that move that he did a couple of minutes before he came off, where Marino played it into him, he kind of put it around the channel to Madueke, and then Madueke drove and had that like shot kind of thing, and keeper
Yeah.
like saved it to his near post. I think Arteta realised then that actually this at this point of the game. We need to get our wingers in behind, the spaces out wide, and we need our striker to be someone that's just going to facilitate the ball out. And I still
Yep.
think Yorkers did a decent job in this game of doing that, but I think that's why Trossard came on to do that a bit more. But like, yeah, like I said, I think Yorkers is getting better and better every week. Like, it's not on him if he has 20 touches a game, that's just how it is sometimes. These games are tough, like,
Oh,
you know.
100%.
And
And
I
that's
saw some
one thing.
people
Like,
being
I
like,
mean,
"Oh, Marino has to play if Arsenal play against low blocks for Gyökeres." It's like we didn't play against a low block in this game. Who
no.
go? If anyone actually thought we were going to go away to Bilbao and play against a low block, that like it's never going to happen. They played a mid physical block, but then they were pushed up for a lot of the first
I mean,
half. Like,
Valverde's so good. Like his 4-4-2 press is unbelievable. I love like the almost like the parallels between him and Arteta, like the philosophy of effort and work. Like you have to, if you play for that manager, you have got to be in the right position. You've got to work for the team. I love that. It's so good. But yeah, 100% right, mate. It's yeah, not low block. I'm going to challenge you on something in a minute because you said Timber is your man of the match tonight. Yeah. I feel like this is almost more of a match for Ben White. I'm not saying Timber was bad, by the way, but there were a couple of times where I just felt he could have released it to Noni a little bit earlier and like made the overlap. Like, I know you said that earlier, but I just felt like you saw a few of his limitations, even in a good performance. I just felt like, there's just something else needed. Does that make sense?
yeah, I definitely feel like in the first half, I felt like his releases weren't quick enough to
Mm.
Madueke. I do think they improved in the second half. In terms of overlapping, I genuinely think that might be a tactical thing over him doing it because he does
Yeah, I guess so. It's
overlap
not like
against
he physically can't do it.
Forest, the overlap loads, and then in this game he doesn't. I just feel like it's definitely like Arteta being like, let's be more conservative, don't run forward because it's just so Arteta like kind of in that way. Especially if you've got Calafiori like marauding and going wherever he wants. I feel like you have
They
to
were
have
good
that
on the
solid
break,
base.
to be fair to him. They had a couple of opportunities. Like there was one towards the end of the game, and I just looked and went, "Oh my god, you have made the wrong pass there." It was yeah, right towards the end. Do you remember? And they passed it out left, so it was I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it too much, but yeah, um, I don't know. I just felt yeah, just wanted a little bit more from Timber, but you're probably right.
Maybe it's just unconscious bias because I know I'm going to make a video about it. Because like
Mate, I
I
mean,
think like if I'm still good, honestly, I think probably Mascara was man the match, but I've spoke about this guy fucking bloody loads, so I'm like,
he's so good. I mean, he is so good. His bravery on the ball, the way he gives a challenge. Aerially, I do question what he'll be like. I think he got caught a few times tonight, like nothing major, but I do wonder if that's like a chink in his armor that we've got to watch. But
that was his big weakness before coming to Arsenal. He has improved it. I think in the box he's good at heading. Like I actually see a lot of improvement there. I think sometimes when it comes to long balls, it's even sometimes his communication with Timber was off. I felt like a little bit at the start, and then I also just feel like yeah, sometimes he just doesn't jumps a bit early and then
Mhm.
misses it. I feel like that happened a few times, but I feel like as the game went on,
I
he got a
do
bit better
wonder,
at that.
like, 'cause we have so many nationalities and stuff. It must be. I haven't been able to go to a game this season, and I do wonder, like, the communication wise, what it's like. Because I don't know how much Martin Zubimendi is able to talk, and I genuinely wonder if that's part of Marino being in the fact that those two have played together, they're able to communicate. Like, Oh,
but it is Spanish at least, isn't it? Like they all speak
yeah, yeah.
Spanish at least.
I mean, I wonder if Declan Rice is doing some Spanglish. I wonder if
Well,
he's
that's
like,
what they said because everyone saw that picture of Hincapié and Miles, and Hincapié literally only speaks Spanish. I guess he speaks German as well. He played in the Bundesliga for years.
mm.
But apparently Miles does speak like a decent amount of Spanish. I didn't know
No,
that.
really?
Yeah, apparently, like that is actually a thing. That's what they were talking in because everyone's like, "Oh, there's no way they'll be able to communicate." But apparently, he actually has been learning Spanish for years now.
That's so
So
cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, Miles is just getting ready for
maybe
his Real
everyone's just
Madrid
gonna
move.
speak in Spanish soon, which is that's it.
I mean, I think tonight I saw a stat actually. Tonight is the first time since Chelsea, like I think against I can't remember who it was against, maybe from like 2012. The first time a non-Spanish club has played four or more Spanish players. Like it is mad. And then obviously we've got a Spanish coach as well, and a
Yeah, from
Spanish
Basque as well.
Labrador.
And they're mostly from Basque as well. Like even Kev on the
Yeah.
bench is Basque. Arteta's from Basque. Bilbao's in Basque. Like it's literally like the Basque derby. I did feel like the Atletico Bilbao fans, like obviously they were like whistling us and stuff like fair play, good atmosphere. I felt like they were quite respectful. Like especially at the
At
first
the
half, I
end, they were
genuinely
brilliant.
and they clapped WOKLZ as well, like when he had his head injury. They were very happy at the start when we gave their flowers to the statue. Like I did feel like there was actually
Mm.
like there's a bit of animosity near the end, maybe because they lost, but I genuinely felt like it was one of the better crowds we played. Like they were actually all right. They were nice people.
Well, at the end, I don't know. Did you see Martinelli go and pass his shirt over to an athletic club
Oh yeah,
fan and stuff? And then a lot of the I think things like that are really nice because for the opposing fans, they get to see that side, that human side of the players, and go, actually, I really like these guys. They're not here, and like the with the Basque region, kind of the relationship. I guess there's a bit of. Oh, almost like that a rivalry of like, oh, we've got to beat those boys. We've got to win against Arteta. We can't, you know. I think maybe that goes into it apart. And at the same time, they probably look and go, well, we've beaten them in pre-season. We've beaten them again in Champions League. Like, hopefully Arsenal go and do well now. So, yeah, it was nice. It was like it's quite a good game, to be fair. After what I thought would be a pretty drab affair in the first half, it was, yeah, I enjoyed it. Um, oh, here's a good question. I mean, it's a little bit off topic, but we'll go to it. John always come up with good questions. Thoughts on Mascara playing right back without Ben White? I do not want to overplay Timber again this season. Like for me, if Saliba was fit, I would be tonight would be a good night for Mascara to play out wide. If Saliba was fit, I'm more than happy for him to get minutes out there, and I do not want Ben White being rushed back again. He's had, he has put his body through trauma for this club when he knew he was injured, and he really does deserve some rest and actually a full recovery. For me, I think Mascara's attributes would go really well out there. He'd be good, kind of like a bridge between the Timber and Ben White profiles. But yeah, what about you, mate?
yeah. Well, he played him right back a bit for us over pre-season, and I think he did in one of the league games of when he came on. But he's
Yeah, he
really good
did.
there. Like it's just because he's really fast. That is just the best thing he has. It's the same with Hincapié. Like we saw like 4 minutes of him, but he's really quick, and I think that helps. And I think that's why they're going to be fullbacks for us. I think Mascara, yeah. Like I mean. I want Timber to be rested. It won't be this weekend. You have to imagine against City,
No,
like he will play, and he was probably quite fine today, like in fitness wise. I think,
the Port
yeah, Ben
Vale.
White is a weird one because he keeps getting physical discomfort. It's not like he's got injuries. It's more like a recurring
Mm,
problem that's through like it's probably more just like it's probably like I don't know, like a physical thing more than like an actual injury. More like you're just not feeling good some days. Like can't put too much weight on stuff. Probably
yeah, I
hurts a
do
little
wonder if
bit.
it's like it could be like a nerve damage thing, or like I don't know if you've ever had like a bad injury, but if you don't, fully go all your physiotherapy. So, for example, like him being rushed back and not completing everything and doing it properly, and then you start getting that, that the tightness and not the full mobility of joints and things. And I do wonder if it's something like that. I hope it's not nerve damage or something, because that's just, I've got it in my back. It's horrendous. So, and it's so sudden as
Yeah,
well. So, and that's the other
it's just
problem.
annoying, isn't it? Like, because we
Mm,
just. But the thing is, like, he could be back any week. He could be back for this weekend. It just doesn't seem like a proper injury, like a long term like
yeah,
physical injury. So at least in that sense, there is certain times where you could probably get him back. I think like I mean, you expect Saliba to start at the weekend. He was on the bench today, which is good. We didn't have to bring him on. I mean, we said the other day that we wanted Mascara to probably start against Forest, and he was excellent. He was excellent again today. I feel it was a bit shaky at the start, but that's going to happen. And then, I mean, he did that. Like Timber went on that run down the right hand side, and he gave the ball away after going past a couple of players, a loose touch. And then Mascara has a 2v1 in the defense, and he literally defends it perfectly. And I was like, this guy's insane. When I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, well, let's just call it a day. Like, what's the point? I was like, this guy, like, I knew he was good. Like, I knew he was aggressive. I knew he was quick. I knew he was like decent on the ball. I think he is improved in the air, which was his big weakness. But it's also just like he is very like content. He's good at decision making. He's calm. Like he is aggressive, but he's calm, and that's one of the main things that
yeah,
Arsenal have, but just you need. And I feel like Gabriel has been such a big like part of it. I feel like you put any defender next to Gabriel, and they're going to be better genuinely because I think Gabriel is by far the best leader that we have, especially in the defense. And like before the Forest game, you see that moment before they kick off where Gabriel goes up to Mascara and they have a conversation in the tunnel, and he's clearly just telling him some like some words and stuff about his like full home debut. And then like I feel like that just helps Mascara. He's got a lot of confidence from the players around him. I mean, Timber in the after the game spoke about how great he was, and he loves playing next to Mascara as well. I just think that means a lot. And apparently Mascara's like got along with everyone. Apparently he's like already
yeah.
like one of the everyone loves him. He's like a good friendly guy, and it's just like a good thing. Like he's a great signing. I do find it funny that I've seen a lot of people say that like he's the backup for Kivior when it's like, well, he's not. He's the Tomiyasu replacement. But
Yeah.
everyone can't remember that because Tomiyasu he played 8 minutes last season. So no one remembers him
For
existing. But
him,
like, he is the
Capio is
Tom.
more of the
Yeah, he can't be
Kiwior
as the Kivior
replacement.
replacement. And I just think, Mascara, Gabriel, like all the defenders, I think were great in their own ways. There's a little bit of loose mistakes. Even Zubimendi at times, I think, made some mistakes, but I still think was great overall. But it's just going to happen. Like you get into
Yep.
these games. I thought Raya basically had nothing to do, but was calm. I think he only made like one bad pass this game, maybe two, which is quite low for him. Usually he makes quite a lot, but it's because he makes risky passes, I guess.
Especially, yeah, the last six
And
months.
like we've got to talk about certain player that both came on and changed the game.
I know, mate. This is what squad depth is used for. And to be fair, I'm going to say this. The reaction from Martinelli and Trossard in terms of their application in this game is fantastic. Like there's two ways you can react to, players like Eze and Gyökeres coming in, Madweki as well, obviously. You can either drop your head and go, well, I'm going to ride out my contract now, pick up my money and just sit on the bench, and it is what it is because I'm not going to get on the pitch much. So, the club have made up their mind. That kind of outlook on it. Or you do what those two do today and you step up, because my God, did those two step up. Let's go through the first goal, which, by the way, is the fastest goal in the Champions League ever for Arsenal, the second fastest goal ever in the Champions League for any club by 1 second. I think Lookman scored it in 35 seconds against Club Brugge, but this was 36 seconds. Mate, Martinelli in a central area. Who'd have thought that might, help him? Go on, talk for it, mate.
I feel like someone needs to get a picture of Seville away, this game, and Real Madrid away. Every single goal that Martinelli scores is the exact same, pretty much. It's
Yeah.
genuinely like a carbon. When he went through, I was like, well, I've seen this before. I was like, genuinely in my head, I was like, wow, okay. I didn't like know he was gonna score anything. I just thought, oh, I've seen this before. And it's just so funny that like it just seems to work. And I saw Billy Carpenter say on Twitter that like one of the reasons it seems like he is just so dominant against Spanish defenders is because they are just kind of old and slow and more like maybe articulate in their
That is
tackles
such
rather
a
than being like.
generalization. I love that.
But it does seem like Martinelli just cooks La Liga players. If he was in La Liga, I don't think it'd be insane. Like he just cooks them over and over
Yeah.
again. And the first goal is just like it's one of them goals where people are like, "Oh, I haven't seen Arsenal do that." We have done this quite a bit. It's just, especially in Europe, we do this a lot. But
Mm.
they kick the ball long and straight away, like we head it on. Rice kicks it on as well, and then Trossard kicks it on. And within like 3 seconds, we've got the ball through to Martinelli. And the first touch, his header isn't good, and I was like, "Oh, here we go." And then he does that, like it just works because it baits it baits the defender in. He goes to get the ball, and then he just hits it past him perfectly. And at that point, I was like, "Well, he's not going to get caught. Like this is the main part." And I don't think the finish is good. I think like I actually, as a number one Unai Simon hater, which I am, he's my like I've got a list of keepers I hate, and he's on there.
Can we do
Donnarumma
an
was on there as
episode of
well.
that one day, please?
Donnarumma's on there, but he's like changing my mind now because he's actually all right. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'm a bit harsh on him. But Unai Simon's still on the list, and like I'm not gonna blame him because it was close to him, like people have said. So it's hard for him to get down in that area. But like it's just so funny to me that like he just kind of kicks it at the keeper and it goes in. Like I don't think that's a great finish, but it's about all the other stuff and putting himself in that position.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because I think Ali McCoy's too, some people don't like, some people like. And he said, I think about 5 minutes before the sub came on, like maybe they should bring Martinelli on for Eze. This game needs that sort of winger type more. And I was sitting there thinking like we should, but I can't imagine the criticism that Arteta's going to get if that happens. And I have gone through and watched all the live streams of the reactions, and everyone's like critical. And to be fair. I don't think Eze was fantastic, and I think Eze should come off. But I can understand why people were like, no, because Eze had them flashes of like, oh, he can do something. So I completely understand the worry of Martinelli coming on. But it just worked. I think we became a lot tighter as well. Like Trossard and Martinelli played a lot tighter together, I felt like, and then spread out. And it's always about that
They're
Martinelli
always like
covers
hitting
a lot of
two at
ground.
times. Like for that goal, it very much was. They were both so central. It's yeah.
And it's about that pacing behind. Like, I think Martinelli just covered ground. Like, not even just the goal. I think the goal gave him immense confidence. But, like, in the first 10 minutes of him coming on, he was just running people down. There was people that were getting the ball on the right-hand side. Everyone's kind of knackered at this point. Everyone's, like, taking their time. He's just running at people. And I was like, I've said so many times on the WOKLZ podcast that Martinelli, he's not the best player in the world. But if you're going to use him, at least use him as a super sub and someone that can run at tired defenses. Because if he's got anything, it's pace and, like, ability and determination to run. And in this game, I mean, he took his goal well. Like, he did take his goal. The control is fantastic, like, to get into that position. The ball by Trossard is just a typical Trossard ball where he's so good at them, like, nifty little passes on. And I think Trossard and Martinelli, like we've spoke about, probably work the best together. Like they've played quite a long time together now, but they do kind of understand each other a lot more than some of the new players do, which obviously makes sense. And I was happy for Martinelli. I was very happy. Like, as someone who's critical of him, I made a video last week half ago talking about like how bad he is, and he is still bad. But like in this game, he changed it, and the assist he got as well, that is more of what I'm like, okay, this is what I want to see Martinelli. Like the goal is like we've seen before, he can run in behind last defender. We know that. You're just not going to get them situations all the time. But the assist he gets is just exactly what I wanted to see. Running at defenders, taking his time, cutting the ball back to Trossard, who made a brilliant run. And then typical Trossard fashion where you think, oh, why is he not shooting? He's taking too long. And then he finds a shot or a goal. He does it every if you look at like 90% of Trossard's assists and goals for Arsenal, they all come from moments where you're like, oh, he's taking too long on the ball. And then he just finds a way to put it in. It's so really weird.
He has got an incredible knack. Like his efficiency is unbelievable. It was really funny because it was only a few weeks ago that I'm going, why have the club giving him a pay rise? And then lo and behold, Havertz gets injured, Bukayo Saka gets injured, and then we're going, oh, hang on a minute, we're a bit light of numbers now. Then he comes along, he got an assist last week, didn't he? And then
2 assists and a goal in 36 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, you just go, how is he doing this? And it's really nice because he does give us something completely different. Like his control in tight areas is so good at the points, and he's really versatile at playing across the line. But he does give you a lot. I really like him. I just feel that, if we're to progress, I think he's a player that will have to move on, and most likely I can't see the club giving him an extension, but John's right, mate. Like, he's an exceptional sub, and hopefully Martinelli can be that too. By the way, big up George Taylor as well, the data god that is George Taylor. Thanks for joining, mate. By the way, I might just clip this bit up, just saying, I made a good point, because usually it's Reece making a good point and I just nod. That's my thing. Before we finish up, mate, because it's a fantastic win. However, we have got the big match against City coming up. Tough decisions. Does Mosquera stay, or does he drop to the bench with William Saliba returning? Like, for you,
Yeah,
if it was you.
he drops to the bench. He drops to the bench. Disrespectful. Like, people don't like. There is a certain level of like, you play well, you should play. But I don't know, Saliba's been our main guy for years. Like, we like nothing without him. We're trying to get him on a new deal as well. And like, Mosquera's been great, but the whole point of Mosquera is that he's an option that comes in when we have these injuries. He shouldn't start. If Saliba's fit and fine, he should be not starting. I'm really intrigued to see what he does. Like, I think we're going to broadly keep the same defense. I think Calafiori and Timber will play. Like, I'd be I mean, I think Calafiori did actually play against City away last year, and that was like his first proper game. Like, I think before that, it was like Zinni was playing or someone else was playing, and he came in properly for that game as his first start, and he scored that banger. Or it was like one of his first starts, and I remember being a bit shocked that we played him. So maybe there's a world where he brings in Hakapié in. Maybe can't really see it, but I think in terms of the midfield, it's so interesting to see what he does, because we're assuming Odegaard isn't fit. Which we don't know. We keep getting this midfield wrong. Like, I say Odegaard's fit and he's not fit, and I say he's not fit and he is fit, and then Marino and then Rice, and then Rice isn't playing, and then I don't know what's going on. But like, Zubimendi and Rice will play, and it's like, who else are you going to put with them? A Marino? Is it an Eze? I don't think he'll play Eze centrally ever, to be honest. Maybe he will. I just can't see it. So it's, in my opinion, it's either a Marino or Waneri.
I want to see him centrally, like.
I just don't think we play like an attacking midfielder, like a traditional. And I feel like even for Crystal Palace, I liked his role for that team in terms of like the left attacking midfield. So maybe you could fit him in. I do want to see Calafiori overlap a lot more if that is going to be the play, because Eze needs to get on the ball more. And I think he will in the Prem get on the ball a bit more in games like this. So it's interesting to see like what will happen. Like, I guess Saka's not fit. I mean, that's fine. Madueke is like been perfectly great. Like, yet again, it's that end product that needs to improve. Like, he gets into really good positions, he dribbles past two players, and then he just crosses it into the keeper. Sometimes it's really frustrating. But at least he's getting there. At least he's doing things. Like, that's something we just haven't had. So I just don't know if he's going to play Marino. I think, like, I would always say Marino will play, and I still think Marino will in terms of pressing. But Man City, in terms of like how they build up and how they press, is absolutely disjointed right now. They have got their right-sided player, like whoever that would be, like right winger, let's say, kind of covering the right like back and the defender for the other team. Against United had so much like overloads on the sides, but what Man City did is they forced them to play inside by being really physical and like jumping really quickly. So and because normal teams have good midfielders that can just turn, get the ball out, and you've broken the press. Because United don't have that and they're dumb, like they just struggle to get out. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, it's surely so easy just to go down the side. No. So, and I think Arsenal, I think Calafiori is going to be a major actual point now I think about it, in terms of like building up. But I don't know, like, if that means we need a Marino. Like, maybe we do in terms of pressing. Like, maybe that's why. But I would like to see if Marino plays in the first half, maybe calm stuff down, and then come off half time. Because Arteta alluded to it in this press conference today that maybe the end to games is more important than the start right now. And maybe it's just about making the starter games comfortable and then bringing someone on. I think he's going to play the same team with Saliba coming in. I think that's what he'll do.
I would agree with that. I think that as well. I do question. I mean, again, it goes not just for the creativity, like Ethan coming in, but Ethan was in the cameo that he had recently. He was so good at just immediately receiving the ball and just bringing us into a quick transition. and it's one of those things. I City can be got at, definitely at the moment. I am expecting us to win. Like, I'm not hoping. I am expecting us to win this next game. And what a shift that is in terms of mentality. And I'm sure that for them, they will be looking at this game going, yeah, we are going to go there. You know, we are going and we are taking 3 points. But
I will say, I
just,
think that we're going to get a lot of the ball. I do think so. Because
yeah,
Man City gave up a lot of the ball against United, which was so surprising to me. And I just feel like they might do. And then if we do have a lot of the ball, do we need a Marino on the pitch? I think a Wineri would benefit us. I genuinely wouldn't go. I think he will start Marino, but I think there is going to be a much more like willingness to play Wineri in this game than
yeah,
some others. Maybe. I think Wineri, like you said, against Forest I thought he was really good against Forest, but
he really
he was
was.
good in terms of being that like like deep at 8, like Odegaard role. I felt like he did really well. Off the ball pressing, he's getting there. He's still not there completely. He jumps a bit too late
And
sometimes.
that's the problem, isn't it? Because do you put Marino in to assist Gyökeres with the press as well?
Hopefully Odegaard's just back and it solves all the
Yeah,
problems.
yeah, it's so true, isn't it?
Just I don't know. Just make sure he stops injuring his shoulder. Stop injuring it, mate. Stop it.
He needs to go on with like NFL shoulder pads or something. There's got to be. Are we allowed to do that? I'm sure it's fine.
You can wear gum
Mate,
shields.
true. Do you know what? I used to play football. I'm not. You know what? That's a story for the WOKLZ podcast. I will leave that one there. What time is it? It is 11:15 at night. Thank you to everyone that has joined us live and caught up on the review of the Athletic Club and Arsenal game. Please, if you haven't done so, go subscribe to WOKLZ. I'm sure you guys all have. WOKLZ YT. Anything else we need to add on to your tags, your YouTube channels?
No, WOKLZ analysis for good analysis. Get that. We need to get that channel to 1K subs. That's the plan.
Mate, we need to get this channel to 1K subs. Look at me. I'm actually doing midweek content as well. Look at that. God, I'm good. Yeah, please subscribe to the channel, guys. Hit the like button. It does help with the algorithm, especially when the channel is this small, not at the 1,000. We will be live on Friday at 8:30-ish, depending if I remember to turn off my VPN or not, because that's what happens every single week so far. See you then. Have a good evening, guys. Cheers now.